Hello, my name is William Valentine. I'm a researcher working at a biochemistry lab at a national center in Tokyo. My lab specializes in studying lipid metabolism and cellular membranes, and especially we study changes in the phospholipid compositions of cellular membranes and the enzymes which are responsible to change physical properties of cell membranes. Um, in my case, my research is focused on changes in the membranes that occurs during skeletal muscle differentiation. So, skeletal muscle represents the largest organ of our body and makes up maybe 40% of our weight. And skeletal muscle is very specialized tissue, and skeletal muscle cells are very specialized and have unique features. Maybe the most striking is skeletal muscle cells are long fibers which each contain hundreds to thousands of nuclei. And that's because before we're born, our skeletal fibers are formed from the each fiber is formed from the fusion of hundreds to thousands of precursor muscle cells. And then by the time we're born, we have our complete number of muscle fibers, and then this doesn't change. So these muscle fibers can't replicate, and our body tries its best not to let them not to let the cells die, so that we can have a constant number of muscle fibers our whole life from the time we're born. But of course, when we're born, our skeletal muscle mass is relatively small. I mean, if you compare an infant to an adolescent or an adult. So how does the muscle mass increase without actually having an increase in the number of muscle fibers? It's accomplished by that each muscle fiber is able to grow. So we don't have an increase in number, but we have an increase in muscle fiber size. And so to accomplish this, the muscle fiber has associated with it a very special stem cell that's dedicated just to supporting the muscle fiber. And that cell is called a satellite cell. It's called a satellite cell because, like a satellite, which circles around maybe a planet, satellite cell is strictly associated with the muscle fiber it supports, and they'll be located on the outside of the muscle fiber with their membranes, with this membrane right up to the muscle cell membrane. And when the muscle fiber needs to grow during postnatal growth, or exercise-induced hypertrophy, or if the muscle fiber needs to be repaired by the satellite cell will somehow be induced to fuse membranes with the muscle fiber and release its nuclei into the muscle fiber, which that supports the muscle fiber in one way because nuclear density is very important, so it has to be maintained. So if a small muscle fiber with its set number of nuclei is not able to grow very much because there just won't be a high enough nuclear density. So these nuclei have to be donated to the muscle fiber by the associated satellite cells. And the satellite cell must support the muscle fiber in other ways, which we don't understand completely or really very well yet. So, in my case, I'm studying changes in the chemistries of the phospholipids of the satellite cells during in vitro differentiation. So I can study changes in phospholipid compositions and correlate these with changes in gene expression of proteins that are known to regulate and remodel membranes. But I think really, the more important and interesting question is why are we studying satellite cells, and what's the relevance of this line of research. And well, so satellite cells are important, as I mentioned. They support the postnatal growth of the muscle, and they're important for exercise-induced hypertrophy. But then I think we study them. Maybe the most important point is in relation to muscle diseases, like muscular dystrophies, where the muscle, it's very serious diseases that don't have good treatments yet, and the muscle is continually maybe undergoing cycles of degeneration and regeneration. So the satellite cell is really dedicated to trying to maintain the muscle fiber. So in these kind of scenarios, the satellite cell works overtime, and really it tries to maintain the muscle health, but maybe at some point it becomes exhausted, and it cannot keep up with the muscle wasting that occurs. But if we could understand how to enhance the satellite cell's function, then we could think about therapeutic targets that we could use for muscle wasting diseases. And of course, other situations like there's age-related muscle loss and muscle loss that occurs in with other diseases, not besides muscular dystrophies. Muscle is such a big part of the body that if you can support muscle health, you support overall health. So can we really target satellite cells to actually make a meaningful impact on overall health of the body? And I think the answer is yes, if we understand better. For instance, the satellite cell is a natural mechanism to maintain muscle. So it's been shown that in some hibernating animals, just as the animal starts to undergo hibernation, it releases factors which will increase the satellite cell number. And then as the animal may be immobilized during hibernation for 3 months, the increased satellite number allows it to partially maintain its muscle mass and its muscle function, whereas for humans, if we immobilize a limb for 2 weeks, we lose maybe 30% of the muscle mass, and and worse, we can't use the limb very well. It takes some time to get back, to get our function back. But these animals, that undergo hibernation, maybe they didn't move for 3 months. They lost muscle mass at a much less rate, and then when they wake up, they just shake it off, and are almost maybe within an hour or two are functioning fine. So we can see the real effect of how the satellite cells are able to support muscle. And then I think yeah, so if we, when we see like someone with really big muscles, like Arnold Schwarzenegger or someone, and we think that they're superhuman, and that this is beyond the realm of a mortal or whatever. But actually, humans have evolved to have the muscle they're supposed to have. So maybe there's some. He may have some special adaptation to have big muscles, but it's not really necessarily better. So if we just understood, which proteins or pathways need to be tweaked to get such huge muscles, I mean, there's nothing magic about it or stopping it. And you can just look across the animal kingdom, and the muscles are so varied. So we can understand that for each species they have the satellite cells, and these are controlling all of their muscle growth after they're born. Yeah, with that said, I try to just wind it up soon. Thank you for your attention, and until next time.